Welcome back to the Infinite Media Podcast. And in this episode, we're going to talk about two great upcoming games that are going to pretty much come out back to back. And that is Starfield, which is scheduled to come out in September. Hopefully, it doesn't get pushed back. And Baldur's Gate 3, that is scheduled to come out in August. And I wanted to bring up Baldur's Gate 3 Rogue Trader. We covered that last week, and we don't really have a release date for that game yet, so it's okay. We covered that enough. Baldur's Gate 3, there's a lot of content out on YouTube because it is an early access. I don't like playing early access games because I like it to be polished. And number two, Baldur's Gate 3, the current max level is 4, from what I heard. It might be different. I'm not sure. Now, if you would like to see me go over the game, play it, I will do that for my subscribers and my fans. I want to thank you so far for watching and joining me with this journey. Well, it's really not a journey, just loving the entire entertainment in terms of anime, video games, even fiction, books, sci-fi, that part of the entertainment industry. So, first off, I want to go over a few things. First, we'll go over Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 comes out August. That's about 3 months away. Really, a little less than 3 months. May's almost over. So we have June, July, and then August. I don't know the specific date in August so far, but Baldur's Gate 3, from what I've seen so far, if you haven't played Divinity Original Sin or Divinity Original Sin 2, then play it. I recommend those completely, and I compare them. As soon as I played Kingmaker, I was all like, okay, this is basically Divinity, but a watered down version of Divinity in some ways. And I'm going to say that because in terms of Kingmaker, you don't have the elemental combinations that you have in Divinity. In Divinity, if you're standing in water, someone casts a lightning spell, electric spell, whatever you want to call it, then that person, the water will be electrocuted. They cast a fire spell, the water will evaporate. That's not in Pathfinder Kingmaker. But Pathfinder Kingmaker shines the same in Wrath of the Righteous. They haven't implemented those environmental effects, but it shines in Pathfinder is that it takes you all the way to level 20. It doesn't shy away from that. One of the arguments that I've heard with Baldur's Gate 3 is that the max level will not be 20. And then when someone said, it's kind of hard to implement level 20 spells because you don't have that game master to interpret things like wish. How are you going to code wish into a video game? But they really could take the Pathfinder Kingmaker approach from Owlcat Games and just tweak a little things here, tweak a little things there to make it compatible for the video game aspect. I still have to play it to see if how true to the source material do they take it. I still have my 5th edition books. They're in a crate. I haven't played 5th edition in a while, and then I can say, hey, okay. So this is basically a video game version, but it's D&D 5th edition, but automated in a sense. If they are that true to the source material and you can do this, I can just follow up, read a player handbook, and I can play the game. There is a game called Solasta Crown of the Magister that is based on the 5th edition system too, and I might have enough time to go do a playthrough of that and Divinity Original Sin 2, because I haven't beaten Divinity Original Sin 2 before we get into Baldur's Gate 3. That's what I'm going to try to do. We'll see what happens. So that's what Baldur's Gate 3, and then Starfield, that's just Starfield. It's just, we'll see. They have something that they need to work towards. Let's cover Starfield too. We're going to cover that one first, because everyone knows Starfield, the big Skyrim in space, as people like to call it. Let's see. This is a video. This video came out a while ago. Let's talk about the settled systems. We're going to learn more about it. Apparently, it's an area. I don't know if this is an area of Starfield or if it's like the entire setting. The difference is if it's the setting that you can't go outside of it.
Hi, I'm Emil Pagliarulo, Design Director of Bethesda Game Studios. We're very excited to offer you this exclusive look at Starfield and the exciting universe we've created, which is an area of our solar system we call the settled system.
Okay, said an area of our solar system. So this means you can traverse the solar system, I'm assuming. I don't know if they said it was an endless area. I don't think they're going to take the whole, what's that game called? No Man's Sky approach. I think they're actually going to design things. And I don't know if they had time between using AI, because I know AI like ChatGPT came out in November, but of course there was AI before then. So we'll see. I'm interested to see how big
our
this
game is
going to
set
be.
in the year 2330, in a relatively small pocket of the Milky Way, in an area that extends outward from our solar system for approximately 50 light years. Around 20 years before the start of the game, the two largest factions in the settled systems, the United Colonies and Freestar Collective, engaged in the bloody Colony War. Today, the major factions enjoy an uneasy peace, but the settled systems is still pretty dangerous. There are plenty of human threats out there.
I don't know, and just from looking at that, I got cyberpunk vibes. Maybe it's just me. I need to play cyberpunk too, but we'll see. Oh, I messed up.
Human threats out there, like ecliptic mercenaries, pirates of the Crimson Fleet, violent spacers, or even the fanatical religious zealots of House Varun. The organization known as Constellation is committed to uncovering the mysteries of the galaxy, and as one of its newest members, you'll explore the deepest reaches of the settled systems, and you'll find yourself at home in the Starfield.
Okay, we finished that video. That told me nothing. Absolutely nothing of it. Sure, you can say, okay, it goes from the Milky Way galaxy, it goes from our part of the solar system to another part of the solar system, and it stretches 50 light years and all that stuff. Science terms for a nerd. And I know our entire group who's watching this is a nerd, but I'm like, that's like astronomy, all this stuff. I don't know. What is that in game terms? Because I can bring this back into Mass Effect, and like I can travel at light speed. Does the ship move at light speed? It's like, sure, 50 light years. That's a large amount of space. That's a lot of planets. Now, are they going to be occupied, or is this going to be a bunch of dead space and just space between? It's like, it's not telling me much, but not a close to, it's a relatively late video. It was made 1 year ago, so it's not going to give us much information, but it did give us a look at some of the different, I'm going to assume, enemy types. What I'm very curious about is the faction system and the ability to join factions, grow within the faction, because you know in Skyrim you had the different factions with the College of Winterhold faction, of course. In that game you could just become the leader of all the guilds and stuff like that. So I'm curious, like in this game, if you join one faction, will it close other factions off against you? I think that would be cool, realistic. And then you can level up, maybe become a leader, or maybe you capped, depending on your class, your play style, what you're doing. Like, it puts limitations. Like, it gives you the freedom, but there are consequences. Like, not everyone can just become, and plus these are intergalactic. Is it gal? No, Is it intergalactic or it's definitely interplanetary? But I'm pretty sure it's all taking. They said Milky Way galaxy, so I'm assuming it's all taking place within one galaxy, similar to Mass Effect. So not intergalactic, but these are interplanetary factions, and I don't know if it's realistic to take the Skyrim approach where you can become the head of this interplanetary faction. It's not a get. That's a very good question. Like, depending on what you can do, it can't be as straightforward as in Skyrim or whatever. I don't have any other game that makes factions good like that. I tried to play Tamriel or online, and that didn't work out. It's just I don't know the launcher or whatever, but it's not about this. So I have high hopes for Starfield. Now let's go into Baldur's Gate 3 because this is important. Because there's a lot of games, most of the games that I'm playing right now is in the same realm as Baldur's Gate 3. That's Pathfinder Kingmaker, just finished that. Let me take a moment to talk about Pathfinder. Let's put this right there. Pathfinder Kingmaker. I was excited. I loved it. I loved the enjoyment. I did make a mistake. I put too much emphasis on the strategy thing. I thought the kingdom part was more important. I put too much focus on that, so I missed a lot of time. I should have been like doing the other quest outside in the maps before that. I won't make that same mistake in Wrath of the Righteous. I'm gonna like do primary map exploration first, and then that crusade stuff and all that stuff can take secondary role, go on the back burner. Also, I should have put more effort and like thought about my companions, because like when they died at the House of the Edge of Time, oh, spoiler alert, some of your companions will die depending on if you do not like, or they'll not die, because some of them do die. They will either die or leave the party, depending on if you're able to properly guide them and help them grow as a character, is by focusing on their companion quest. I like that freedom. They put a lot of options. I love that. But then the ball dropped. Sometimes it's not how you do a thing, it's how you end a thing. And it's like they glitched. And I know it's a glitch because it's not just that the enemies are strong, because the difficulty curve does spike at the House of the Edge of Time, which is understandable. This is the big bad villain, yes. But when you take it to the point where now you can't kill these creatures, no, done with that. The first issue was with a troll. That was a single enemy, strong, high AC, high saves. You just have to keep on wearing it down, and you had to debuff it too. But then it falls down. It's a troll. It doesn't die from acid, doesn't die from fire. Normally a troll is supposed to die from either acid or fire. They made the big excuse that they have this brand, so like earlier in the game you had the trolls, they didn't die from fire because they had the little brand. Okay, use acid. Good. But this one, no acid, no fire didn't work. Negative energy didn't work. I had to use a hellfire way. Okay, and that's alright. We'll keep on playing the game. It's a one-off special creature, I guess. If I didn't have Hellfire Way, if I didn't have any spell casting in the party, which would be kind of crazy because you want a balanced party, but I wouldn't have been able to kill it. And then there was the next issue with the wild hunt in a certain area is they don't die. So I'm like, can't use Finger of Death, didn't work. I didn't try Disintegrate, but either way, there's multiple of the wild elves. So it's like, and it's so hard to run away from a battle. You have to like run, and it's so crazy, nearly impossible to run away. And I'm not. It's just at that point to overcome a glitch. It's like I'm pretty sure it's a bug. And then I looked it up, and there's people talking about why it's so bugged out, blah 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 blah. So hopefully, Wrath of the Righteous, it ends properly. I haven't looked to see if there was any in-game bugs or anything like that. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm hoping. I haven't heard any bad things. Everything's good with Baldur's Gate 3 from early access, from what I hear. This is a release date reveal trailer that we're gonna watch. This came out 5 months ago. Let's see what they're talking about.
I'll tell you a story, true soul. My life was dismantled piece by piece. And when I tried to buy it back, it cost me everything.
Another good thing that I'm looking forward to is that I started with Pathfinder before Dungeons and Dragons, because I got the Pathfinder book first, because it was between, this was when 5th edition wasn't out yet. It was either between, because you had D&D 3.5, and then they came out with 4th edition and then that flopped because they tried to make it more video gamey than actually role playing game wise, and that allowed Pathfinder to get a lot of market share. So when I was first deciding between which to get, it was Pathfinder. It was like that just suited my purposes, the role playing, the tabletop versus a video game type tabletop. If I want to play a video game, I'll play a video game. So I really started with Pathfinder, and then I went into 5th edition because 5th edition just made it so much easier for new players to get in. And that on my little college friend group, where I was able to play 5th edition and also Pathfinder later on, it was just easier to get them into like enjoying role playing games. So I really like the D&D Dungeons and Dragons lore. I need to learn more about the setting. Forgotten Realms, okay, I know about that, but explore deeper into the monsters and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it.
I must finish what I started. Death's design will be complete.
Discover Gedric's secret. Find out what it is that makes him invincible so we can strip him of his advantage.
Okay. So it's not going to be like Pathfinder Kingmaker, or your party's going to be 4. You're not going to get 6, which is kind of the traditional party from these games are considered 4. People recommend between 4 to 6. Well, ideally 4. 4, you can have a good balanced party. The one to cover each role. I'm gonna obviously end up doing a Gish type character because I like to have that flexibility between spellcasting and fighting. I'm gonna have to see how easy or how well that's gonna work. But you'll be able to get fighter. You'll get the fighter type. From what I hear in Solasta Crown and Magistrate, which let me see the 4-2, and it's 5th edition base, then Paladin over Fighter, obviously, because they just Paladins with their critical hits, and then able, at least in tabletop version, you can use your smite when you realize you can get a critical hit, and so that can just create the damage. So Paladins, then you get your cleric, obviously you need a healer, then spellcaster. A lot of people choose wizards. I don't like the spontaneous, even though they do change it up with 5th edition, where you can play a wizard for me, because really they call it prepared spell casting, but it's basically spontaneous spell casting, because you're really just preparing these spells from your spell book, but you have all these spell slots. So as long as you have the spell prepared, you can cast it with whichever spell slot, instead of saying versus in Pathfinder, where when you prepare a spell, like, hey, I prepare 1 instance of magic missile, or I prepare 2 uses of magic missile. You don't have the limitation in 5th edition. You just say, I prepare magic missile, I prepare mage armor. I can just cast it as many using whichever spell slots I have available. And the kicker is that they have more spells known, which means spells prepared that they're able to prepare, than sorcerers have spells known, period. So it's like, over that, it's like they took away the advantage that Pathfinder put on sorcerers. In like where in Pathfinder sorcerers you get more spells, you're able to cast more spells versus having the more limited spells known. That's what made sorcerers. That's why some people pick sorcerers over wizards. I'm not going to say that they make sorcerers better than wizards because it really depends. Because I know from different builds and stuff, people will still choose wizards over sorcerers. But in 5th edition, they made it where, like, why would you pick a sorcerer? I'm still going to pick a sorcerer, period, because sorcerers is like, or I might pick a wizard. I don't know. Well, I have to look and see at the game. So yeah, maybe it's because they're called Wizards of the Coast. That's what someone said. But I like the character designs. I like the graphics. Graphics are good.
You're a pawn, a slave to forces you cannot comprehend.
Ketherick is a frightening man, but you have something he doesn't. Allies.
This
worth
is one
having.
of the. This they threw someone off the thing. This is one of the things that Pathfinder, and I think Wrath of the Righteous suffers from too, is the verticality. Well, the Wrath of the Righteous, they did add parts where you can use parts of the environment and stuff like that. I think it was more just a tacked on feature than something like what I'm seeing here, where it's like baked inside the game, and it looks like they're playing it on a I might get this wrong. I'm gonna say Xbox because I see the triangle, but that triangle could be PlayStation or Xbox, and then the blue and the green is what's making me think, but that just might be action points. But anyway, let's continue.
Together.
Oh, I got distracted. That's what I was gonna say. The graphics is one thing I do like. They definitely improved because they added some cinematic shots from to Wrath of the Righteous, because in Kingmaker they didn't have those cinematic shots. But from what I've seen from That's the Crown of the Magister, after you make your character and design them and stuff like that, then whatever you create gets put in the scene and stuff like that. I understand. I guess they have a base model and then they just put your character in front, and the voices, I'm guessing, are based on like what you choose the character voices to be. So I do like that. Let's continue.
We will strike down the absolute.
What is that? Was that a World War time? Ooh, we need to have a druid in the party. Druids get I'm thinking Pathfinder 2nd edition. I think druids get the heal spell too. Well, I do like with Pathfinder 2nd edition because they split the casting, like the spells, into like schools. Because in regular 5th edition and in Pathfinder, there's another limited thing about spell slots, because again, another reason I hate what they did to the sorcerer and wizard dynamic is in 5th edition they separated the sorcerer and wizard spell list. One of their things was, certain spells on the sorcerer spell list, since sorcerers get meta magic, it will be too powerful. They nerf spell casting too. It'll be too powerful, like twin spells. Some spells shouldn't be twin because they're too powerful. And then twin spell is a meta magic where you cast a spell once but you get 2 uses of it. But when you combine that with sorcery points, it's like they had to chain the sorcerer. Complete stupidity. But anyway, on the wizard spell list, they get spells that you don't get as a sorcerer. They took some things off. I think sorcerers still get the Everard's Black Tentacles. Black Tentacles is a great spell. I love putting that on all of my characters because not only is it a control spell, you're also doing damage. And that's just great. like, and you're entangling them and all that stuff. Great spell. Hopefully they have that. I haven't noticed that they didn't have it in Kingmaker. I don't know about Wrath and Righteous. Hopefully they have it in Wrath and Righteous. I don't think they do, but hopefully they do. I do. If not, they should have it in Solasta, because that would be cool. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Pathfinder Second Edition. Instead of splitting spells by classes and saying, "Hey, this is the cleric spell list, this is the paladin spell list," blah 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 blah. They say, "Hey, you have 4 different types of magic. You have arcane, occult, primal, and divine." And then depending on your character, that's what spell list they use, what type of magic they draw on. So if you are a bard, you use the occult spell list. That's going to have your spells that are kind of geared towards the occult, like a mental type spells. Gias is one of the key spells on there. I'm pretty sure Gias is on another spell list too. Arcane is your typical wizard spell list. That's why wizards draw from the arcane spell list. And then you have your clerics drawing from the divine spell list. Druids draw power from the earth, so that's your primal spell list. Now, the great things about sorcerers, what they did in Pathfinder Second Edition, is that depending on your bloodline, that's what spell list you use. So if you want to go sorcerer and you want them to draw from arcane, then hey, dragon sorcerer draws from the arcane spell list. They have, I think, the Jean bloodline that I think that gives you a cult. Of course, elemental gives you the primal bloodline, and then you can choose an angel sorcerer to give you access to the divine spell list. Now, what I also like about it is that it has a feat. They reworked the feats. Oh, I like Pathfinder Second Edition. This entire like setup is on top of a lot of Pathfinder Second Edition books. I want to get into that whenever I start working on my own tabletop RPG. I'm going to take some heavy inspiration from the Pathfinder system. That's going to come later on after I build a good team, because I think we can do even better and make spells great again. I'm gonna make that a motto: make spells great again. Because the difference, I'm talking a lot about this, but that's how you should feel when you play this game. Like, I wouldn't say, like, if you never played the tabletop role-playing systems, D&D or Pathfinder, or there was another one called GURPS that gives you a lot of player choice. I think I might still have one of the books. I never actually got to play the system. I also played a D&D 3.5 version of like a Naruto D&D. That was fun. I want to set that up like in the future and stuff like that. But it's like when you play games like that, you should get excited. It just makes the games like tenfold more fun. They're already fun on their own. Like Pathfinder Kingmaker Wrath of the Righteous is fun on its own as a video game. It stands by itself. But when you play it from like being a player of the tabletop Pathfinder, it's like it's not, you don't get the feeling, oh man, I wish I could do this. That's how good it is. Like, even though there were bugs at the end, like having that nostalgia and stuff, that's why I recommend, if you play this game or play Pathfinder Kingmaker, Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, play the tabletop. Find a friend, and then if you have friends, you can find people online. I try playing online. It's like family stuff. I'm not gonna say family stuff. Life stuff gets in the way. Sometimes people don't make it, and you don't have that companionship. That's why I recommend getting like a good friends and then start a gaming thing. That's one of the things I miss because some issues and all that stuff. So I don't have that like core group, but it's something in the future that I want to look forward to. But back to Pathfinder Second Edition. Make spells great again. In Pathfinder, they made the cantrips like you can't use the cantrips are trash. Period. They don't get stronger. You run out of spells, or you gotta rest or use wands. Fifth edition, they said no. Okay, we limit the spells So that's why I'm kind of okay with them saying, okay, I'll limit the spell casting, because they make cantrips good, because they level up over time every like fifth level or something like that, or whenever a fighter gets their extra attack, they give the cantrips an extra die of damage. So at first level it's doing the typical, it even does more damage anyway, like firebolt in 5th edition first level is doing 1d10 damage. If you're a dragon sorcerer, you add your charisma bonus on top of that, 1d10 plus, should be, yeah, you can get to +5 at first level in 5th edition, so it'll be +4, 1d10 +4. Now, and if you're a warlock, oh, it goes, well, we'll get into that. So, but then when you get to the not second level, but 5th level, the same level that a fighter gets their extra attack, is that it does 2d10 damage plus charisma, because you should be able to do that. And then when it reaches, I think the next level is 11th, because that's when the fighter gets their 3rd attack. So that's great. And then if you're a warlock, you get Eldritch Blast. So now instead of an extra die on the damage, you're doing an extra blast, and each blast you add your charisma bonus to that damage if you get the proper warlock feat and stuff like that. You can get that second level. That's why when people multi-class, they usually as a sorcerer, they usually do sorcerer 18 and then dip 2 levels, because when a sorcerer, and this is what I keep on looking, you really don't need 20 levels, because the capstone is really not that good. That's why I take a 2-level dip in warlock, get that Eldritch Blast, and then it goes based off of character level, not spellcaster level, so you'll still get it on the cantrip. And the Eldritch Blast is just so good, and you get a few spells on top of that, so it's just it's amazing. That's why I'm gonna love, hopefully they have that multi-classing and stuff in Solasta. I'm gonna look forward to that. So that's enough of that. We'll talk more about D&T and all that stuff later. I wasn't supposed to talk this much about it, but let's continue to think about it.
Bow before the absolute. Bow!
Oh, the video is almost done. It come August 31st, 2023. Okay. I hate when they do dates like that, because when they do dates like that, it makes me think, like, will it come out? Will it get pushed back? Because I don't know if y'all are familiar, like there's certain games they'll schedule like December 31st whatever year, but that's just, of course it's going to be pushed back. What game comes out on the last day of the year? I don't remember any. And then they have these collector's edition. I don't like getting collector's edition stuff, but 160-page art book, BG3, I don't even, BG3 Steam code, Baldur's Gate 3 Steam code, oversized metal D20, I don't need an oversized version, Magic the Gathering Battle for Baldur's Gate booster pack, they give you all that, tadpole keyring, cloth map, origin character sheets. Now, I normally wouldn't get a collector's edition. I probably might not get the collector's edition, but since Baldur's Gate 3 is a video game, because you can't get a translation of a lot of video games to real life unless you're like collector's edition. You're not really going to get that much use from it. But since Baldur's Gate 3 is made based off a tabletop game, and I do have certain, I will show you, for all my people who are watching video wise, I do have certain things, like certain miniature. It's kind of dusty, hopefully you can't see the dust, but this is I think I used this once. This is a miniature for my days. I love miniatures because they're just so great to use. That one I got because it was just so good. I love dragons. And it's I think it was gargantuan or something like that. For normal creatures, I just use the stands. Use your imagination just to be quick. So miniatures are fun, and like these different things can be used. If this was like a D20 like little set where you have D20, D6, D4, D12, all that stuff, D8, then that would be compelling. I don't play Magic the Gathering as far as the cards anymore because I don't like how as new sets come out, then they just cancel the other sets. They become legacy and stuff like that. At least in Yu-Gi-Oh, they just ban certain cards. But still, I don't like playing and spending money. It's just like it's a card sink, but I will never say, "Oh, you're stupid for playing Yu-Gi-Oh" because it is fun. Uh, but I just fell off of those things, or at least it was fun. I don't know how it is now, but I'll look into that collector edition on my own and see what it's like. But anyway, I want to take some time to talk about. We're done with you. You two, go back to me. I want to take some time to talk about filler. And I want to say this because I'm still getting caught up in One Piece and Boruto. At Boruto, I just finished the last episode of the Sasuke arc when Sasuke went to go heal Naruto. Now, I didn't look this up after the episode because Sasuke used his Rinnegan, and the Rinnegan is supposed to have been taken off and stuff like that. So I'm assuming that this took place like before their battle with Ishiki. I'm going to just assume that's the case and then just continue to watch and see what's later on because he was supposed to lose his Rinnegan. And I really hope they didn't like redcon that just to show the Rinnegan, but I'm pretty sure this happened before Ishiki. It'll be the thing that makes the most sense. I don't think they'll pull I don't think One Piece did anything egregious like that. One Piece is just they definitely pushed on the edge because I'm at the part where now Zoro has already started fighting King the Wildfire, but uh Zoro just got knocked down like for the first time. Like he's trying to figure out the whole thing between King's secret and stuff like that. And when he said all that, I was like, no, you don't need to know his secret to behind his power. You just said it'll be stronger. Who cares about it? It's not like, sure, okay, you know him stronger because of this. Just overpower him. But I want to talk about filler is that One Piece has a way of adding all these things. Like I skip certain parts of One Piece. I'm like, you're doing a flashback of something that happened 4 episodes ago. I already know what happened 4 episodes ago. Oh, you don't have to do this long flashback. Then they take some episodes to recount what happened in something 3 episodes ago. I might be exaggerating. It might have been 5 or 6, but it's like I already know about this. And even if I wasn't binge watching it and getting caught up 6 weeks ago, normally because they come out with this thing every week, it's like there's no point in continuing to do that. Like they like to stretch things out. And I noticed from like the last episode that okay, they stretch things out. Maybe it makes the like highlight moments, the best moments of the series like stand out even more because when they make some good stuff, they make some good stuff. Like when Luffy started walking up those stairs slowly, and then when he punched the thing and appeared before Kaido and Big Mom, it was like great. But I'm like, come on now, you can make this better. You couldn't cut out a lot of filler. Versus Boruto, I'm gonna say Boruto made filler great again. Some of the filler is like, well, I don't think filler was ever great. They just made filler reasonable. The first filler with the kids and stuff like that, I don't care about these other ones because they really don't matter. These other like Shikamaru's children, the other children that's not Boruto, Sarada, Misuki, or Kawaki is like, do they even matter? They might play a point. So that's why I feel like, okay, this is background story, stuff like that. Even the Kawaki and the Kai little filler thing, because that was a filler part, I thought, okay, this is alright, I can watch this. I didn't like ever feel the need to skip it. There was some interesting stuff. Now the Sasuke trying to find these ultra particles to heal Naruto, definitely that's filler that I would say people want to see. Y'all let me know in the comments if y'all felt that was trash or not. But I'm like, okay, you're giving us more Sasuke. You're bringing back the nostalgia. You're giving us Sasuke. You're bringing Sakura. Now you're exploring. Not only are you exploring the relationship more, you're giving us more of what we grew up on. These are for the individuals who grew up on Naruto and then just suddenly grew up in the Boruto era. So it's really great. You're giving us what we want, and I just love that backstory. I like, okay, a backstory that I wanted to watch, a filler that I wanted to watch because this doesn't have anything to do with the story. Also, the Boruto being kidnapped by Oga, I just like those little, should I say game theory? Because I don't want to sound stupid, but it's YouTube. You can sound stupid on YouTube, uh, or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever. But those little game theory games where people like try to, how do I say it, overcome challenges, and then they have to make moral choices and ethical choices. Those are just so interesting, and that's why I love that filler part. So it's like the last two fillers were really good. But anyway, that's enough about filler. Boruto does it right, One Piece does it wrong. I'm going to stick to that story. If you have gotten to this point and you're watching, you let me know what you think. Please let me know your arguments. Not just say one is better than other. Tell me why. Because I want to make this semi-decent, civilized place. Okay, but anyway, that's enough. As I get more caught up with Boruto and One Piece, then I'll be able to talk about that, talk about more anime, talk about more books. June, I have to look into see about that Lightbringer book because I think it either comes out June or July because I want to get that when that comes out and read it. That way I can talk about the Lightbringer series too because everything I read, whether it's nonfiction or fiction, it's all going toward the greatness that will be showcased whenever I start building up a team to come up with not only stories and different systems, not different systems, just one system to replace the Pathfinder in my life because I think it can be made better. So I have to review spells and stuff like that. I think the world is so interesting, but that's enough for me rambling. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.